Hey, kids. You're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast.
Prepare for the SML Podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. We've got a PartyCast with Pernell, Chris, Brooke, and Aki. How is everybody doing?
Apparently someone's feeling flatulent. I heard that burp.
That was Aki.
That was obviously me. That's what I do.
Great booger mugger.
No one knows who could have done it. It was Aki. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yep.
The greatest whodunit known to man. Could have been anybody.
I'm doing fantastic. I got good food and good personal news. So that's, it's great.
Here to that.
My house is finally going to fully be fixed soon, and it's not going to cost me the almost $8,000 that I was expecting to have to pay out of pocket.
I'd call that phenomenal news.
Yeah, it's great.
Dang,
You want to know what
awesome,
news
dude.
I thought was phenomenal? The fact that we got 3 subs right as we were going live. Javor, Khaled, and Shitsu on you all subbed before we went live. So shout out to them.
I still
I like
love
the
that
name and the
Shitsu on you.
character.
I love that.
And Sir Khaled dropped some biddies, too. We got a hype train. That was cool. That never happens in here.
I'm
You.
not entirely sure what that is still. I've
A
seen
hype
them.
train
I
is when a
don't
bunch
know
of
what it
people
is.
drop subs and bits, and it's a way to encourage viewers to keep doing it by getting emotes and other.
Okay. Yeah, I'd seen them a few times, but I never really understood what they were
Like
for.
causes a
Yeah,
train
because they
to
don't
run through
happen
the chat
here
room
often.
and wreck everything.
Yes, train.
What Chris said.
Choo choo, motherfucker.
Chugga-lugga. Ooh, ooh, baby. But I am very glad to hear that your house is doing good now and that your wallet isn't suffering the great beatdown as a result of it.
Oh,
So,
it still suffered a
congratulations.
little bit of one, but it's something I'll be able to bounce back from within probably by the new year. I should be okay finally.
Yeah, little beats a lot. Little beats a lot. So,
Yeah, it took a beat down of 2K, but that's still a hell of a lot better than a total of 10-ish. So, considering that's what I make in an entire fucking year, that's a much better choice there.
oof,
So,
I get it.
Think of all the gunpla that $8,000 can buy.
Exactly.
Or put it in a high yield savings account for a rainy day.
I've never been
that
that
would
good at
require me to
tennis.
actually have that kind of money. I was going to have to borrow every penny of that, so I don't have that money.
Well, at least you don't have to borrow it. That's still freaking good.
Exactly, because I had to borrow the 2K, so that's going to take me a while to pay off.
Now, if you come out next week on the episode and say, hey guys, I borrowed 8K and bought a ton of Gunpla, we can wag the finger at Joe for giving you the idea.
Yeah.
Well, that idea
My-
was in my
my
head for
fault.
years.
Joe, don't do that.
Like one of my fantasies is just to win the lottery specifically so I can buy more Gunpla. So,
What's not to love? What's
Exactly.
not to love?
exactly, and they just P Bandai just put a whole bunch more new Gunpla coming out tomorrow, and I
Because then you could buy a house to store the Gunpla specifically. You could call it a museum for Gunpla.
I
Aki.
plan on doing that with my house. Actually, I one of my plans for within the next few years is I'm planning on redoing one of the front rooms of my house.
I have to add-
By
okay.
ripping the walls and floor out and replacing them. And all it's going to be is custom shelving specifically so I can put all my Gunpla up to look pretty.
Yes, that is what I would call a baller. I'm just going to point that.
Yep, that's all that room's going to be is dragon statues and Gunpla, and that's it.
That you see.
I mean, you people have seen my room, so
Oh, that's a good idea. I might put all the very few statues I
all the
have in there,
friggin'
too.
statues and trinkets and
Oh, the freak statue.
bullshit
Oh,
that I
freak statue.
have.
Yeah, see, I
Yeah.
just
So if-
shove all that stuff into a metal cabinet.
Aki brings up a good question. If you won the lottery, what's the first thing you would buy? Like, that's a complete waste of money. Everyone's like, oh, I would pay off my house. Like, none of that bullshit. What is the dumbest purchase you are making with that money first thing off the bat?
Career as a musician.
100%.
Well, we know yours
First
is
of all,
Gunpla,
that's not-
Aki. You're already covered. This is for everyone else.
Honestly, I'm not too far off from Brooke. I'm not too far from Aki, specifically because you said it has to be a quote unquote dumb thing. So it would likely be something akin to like a second home. And you might be thinking, what? That doesn't sound very dumb. And the reason would be because as a person who's typically practical with his money, I would want that second home just because it could have more space for board games and video game stuff. Because my current house is lacking in space for those things, and I want more. So
would buying some franchises be a dumb?
That wouldn't be dumb. That's an investment.
Okay,
that's an investment. Unless, of course,
Like,
you're
what
buying a dying
franchise would you
franchise with
buy?
no hope of saving it.
I'd want to buy a Zestos and a Little Caesars because I like both their food, and I would just buy it so I could get free food.
Never heard of Zestos.
That would be an investment. That's an investment.
It's a very regional Dairy Queen, basically.
Is it a successful franchise down there? Is it doing
I have
well?
no idea. It probably does okay. It's older than I am. So
well, the best way to gauge it in this context is if you drive by or walk by it, do you generally see people there buying and consuming food?
Oh, yes, very much so. It does better
Then it is
than
doing well.
Dairy Queen by quite a bit. It's cheaper and it tastes better.
Then it is doing well, and you'd be making an investment, so you need a different answer for that question.
Well, no, I'd be buying it specifically so I could get free food.
The reasoning is fine,
answer.
but it's still an investment because you ultimately make money on it. It's not stupid. If anybody that didn't know your reasoning heard it, they'd go, oh, wow, this woman knows how to spend her money. She's becoming a franchisee.
I don't know, because like for Zestos, it's literally open half the year because they don't have hot eats or anything. It's literally
So is Rita's. So is Rita's, and Rita's is blowing up.
Oh, I don't know what Rita's is.
Rita's Italian Ice. You don't have that.
Give it a few years.
Nope.
Give it a few years. You'll know what it is because they're expanding. They're expanding quite a bit.
We have
So
one in our
you
town,
will.
and we don't have anything in our town.
Are they
There you go.
expansive?
No, it's just like
Yeah,
Italian ice and ice cream.
No, you,
Sorry,
you
not
totally
ice
missed
cream.
her.
Frozen custard.
She was hitting you with one of those wacky puns. Are they expansive?
No, I was asking if if it costs a lot of money because I'm poor.
In that case, you're welcome. That's a free pun. Free puns.
I hate puns.
Chris,
Yeah,
what are
you're
you
really
buying?
welcome.
What are you buying if you win the lottery?
I said a music career.
That's not. How is that stupid?
How is
Help
it
me
not
out here.
stupid?
It's something you want.
If it was a
make you
country
money.
music career, I would agree that it was stupid because that's how you lose a lot of money. But anything else,
Country music is like really popular.
Buying a music career implies that you become popular with said music career because having a music career means, making money off of your music. So it's an investment. Come up with something dumb like I want to buy a giant toilet for shitting. I don't know.
I want to buy a Vignetta.
Hockey, you've had like 12 answers. Let everyone else answer.
They keep giving
And it is
ideas,
legit,
though.
though. That's decadent.
stupid.
I
Was that a
figured,
dry
Chris, you would
toilet?
want like some kind of super rare kaiju Blu-ray or something like that.
I've already got it.
What is it?
You should buy Godzilla. Just
Yeah.
the IP. Buy Godzilla.
Well,
yeah,
I
buy the
have-
Godzilla IP.
Just all
What's
of
the
it.
super rare disc you've got?
It's actually not super rare now that I think about it because it's like pirated, I think. But yeah, I guess Godzilla versus Biollante would be the most expensive one.
So there we go. It works.
What about you, Brooke?
What kind of Northeast Floridian origins girl would I be if I didn't immediately sink all my money into a boat that would never have an investment to pay off? So I guess
figured
that
you'd buy bunnies.
Would you sail the
honestly.
boat?
indoor swimming pool. I don't know. I just wanna.
I'm surprised you didn't choose more bunnies, to be honest.
I think it's
A bunny
funny that
farm.
Brooke Poole wants an indoor pool.
Hey, I also can't swim. This joke is my life. I'm here all week. Hey. No, what would I?
You can't swim.
You know,
I'll
I would
teach you how to
probably
swim.
be thanks, dude. I would be a total weeb and go to Japan. I'd go to the fine dining McDonald's in Roppongi. That's been a dream of mine. I would buy a bunch of really expensive custom made costumes to cosplay all my stupid anime characters I love. That's,
the funniest part about all these
Pretty
things,
good.
I keep trying to find like reasons why that's not stupid. That's an investment. That's not stupid. That's X. But even when it's something like completely kabuki bonkers, like again, like the giant toilet, or like you classified buying a bunch of costumes to cosplay in as being stupid, and all those things are still fulfilling for your life. Like you feel good getting them. It's like checking a box that you would have liked to have checked if you had the means, which you now do. So even still, I'm questioning if that is really stupid, if it's providing you with a genuine sense of self-fulfillment by saying, I got this thing, it's making me happy, and I'm going to use it.
That's exactly the answer I'm looking for with something stupid. Like, it's not something you need. It's just something
Brooke
you
could make
really,
a lot
really
of money
wanted.
with cos.
Like me, if I win the lottery, the first thing I'm doing is finding a Panasonic Q and getting a North American version of it. Or at least some kind of modded version of the Panasonic Q.
What's that?
How expensive are those right now?
What, Pernell?
How expensive are those right now?
Oh, I have no clue.
What are they even?
Panasonic
like
Q is a
version.
Japanese-only GameCube that played DVDs, and it had a really awesome mirrored front. It was an awesome-looking system, and there was no reason to actually need it anymore. I just want it, because I've always wanted a Panasonic Q.
Fair enough.
I hear you on that.
And Brooke, you were trying to say something?
Oh, I would just definitely buy Joe a lifetime supply of that melon. Mountain Dew
Don't
Deluxe.
do it. Don't do it. You'll kill him.
Yeah, that's
Well, that
what
would
I
be
was
a
about to
lifetime
say.
supply then. You wouldn't have to
You're just
spend
gonna
that
give him a heart
much.
He's gonna buy it whether we help him or not. Okay, he might as well.
attack. This is very true.
Panasonic
melon? Did I
Qs
get
are
that right?
all over the place with price. They're as low as $400 and as high as $1,500.
My goodness.
That sounds about
Actually-
right. I know they had a very short run of those things. They did not have very many at all.
Nope.
I'm not rich, but I recently got a paycheck, so I was acting rich, and I actually did buy myself a pretty expensive game I didn't think I was going to be able to buy.
Ooh, what'd you
Yeah.
get?
I got Tales of Destiny on the PlayStation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, the first one?
Yeah.
How much does that go for?
Well, it ranges because resellers are bastards.
Yeah.
It starts at about 150 and goes up to like 400.
Holy fuck sticks. I thought Tales of Destiny 2 was the one that sold for bank. I didn't realize the first one went up
that
too.
sells for even more. That's a $200 to $500 thing.
Excuse me while I go put my games in a pristine cabinet. Never to see the light of day
because
again.
apparently I'm buying them like an idiot.
Well, I mean,
Hey, Brooke.
if it makes you feel slightly better, they're fantastic games.
Brooke, GSE Studios on our Twitch says that you have to visit the Kirby Cafe in Japan.
Oh my God. Googling now. Also very nervous that you're in the room. So glad that you're joining us. All right. I'm going to stop before I say anything awkward here.
Awkward.
Dude, you know what? I wish I had visited when I was living in Irvine. There's like a Hello Kitty cafe, and in the back they have a VIP room. It's called the Bow Room, and the waitresses do Hello Kitty like bottle service for you.
That sounds fun.
That's cool.
And then the pandemic hit, and I got a job offer, and I was like, "Will you guys open up the VIP, the Bow Room, just for me? How much do you guys want?" And they were like, "We're not doing that for you." This is like the very beginning of the pandemic, so that's a dream. That's something I would do. I would go down to Irvine, and if I won the lottery, I would rent out the Bow Room, and we would all go have some Hello Kitty bottle service, and it'd be so lovely.
Now we're talking.
And now we're
Hello
talking.
Kitty. So I'm in. Let's do it. Let's go.
So we all have our fun little purchases that we want if we win the lottery. Now, who's going to win the lottery out of us?
I mean, well, who's the luckiest? I'm going to go with. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like luck base here, from what I do know limitedly, it'd
Brooke.
probably be Brooke followed by Chris.
LOL. Chris is like, Brooke is not lucky.
Wow. Also,
Well, I mean-
yeah, Chris don't play the gambly stuff.
Yeah, I believe the lottery is a tax on people who can't do math, so I don't think Pernell
What?
plays.
Yeah, I'm not the lottery guy. My mom wins all the time, but even still, I'm like, how much did you have to spend to win? How much did you have to spend before you won, and how much did it balance out? So, no, I'm very risk averse. I spent way too much time in a casino playing no fours on craps just to win back $200 after having a panic attack over it. So yeah, I'm not a gambling man either. But if we're talking about just a general luck thing,
I went to a casino like twice and spent maybe $50, and I'm like, I could find better things to do with my time.
I know how I am in video games, so like I can't bring that into the real world with real money.
But therein lies the rub. Do you feel as though that would happen? Like, I play video games to get the best equipment in the casinos, but that's fake money that I can win back by punching slimes in the nuts. So it's not as big of a deal as being like, well, I'm out $200. That cost me how many hours of my life to earn? This freaking sucks. I can't get it back. But you'd be surprised how quickly your money can just fade when you're in the moment. Like, you put money on the table, the guy's like, oh, I'm like, okay, I can win that back. Like, okay, that's a bit of a setback, but how much have I lost? You're out $300. Like, fuck you. Things are awful.
I know one of Ashley's family members had a really bad gambling addiction. Like, they had a pension, and whatever money they got from that immediately went to the casino, and they were basically bankrupt. They got addicted. It's scary.
Real addiction.
It's the real thing. It's a real thing. Your brain tells you things like, "Oh, I can make it back. It's only a little. I'm only down by a little bit. I can make it back." And then it goes from being, "I'm only down a little. I can make it back," to, "Oh my God, how much did I sign away? I have to make it back because I can't afford how much I've lost." Like, it gets really scary. So, like, just know, like, even though I'm saying this in like a comedic fashion because that's what I do, no, gambling is no joke, and that's why I don't like doing it.
Pernell, just a quick correction: there is no comedy on this show.
You take this very seriously.
Just do it.
Appreciate that. Nah, gambling there's a reason it's illegal in so many different parts of the world. So it's very real.
Like, I think my favorite aspect of gambling is the fact that they intentionally design it so you can't even tell what time it is while you're there.
Wild.
I was gonna say, to paraphrase Chevy Chase, if the bookie hunts you down and breaks your legs, you still owe him the money. How's that fair?
That's actually really fucking good.
While we're talking about some deeper topics, can I tell a very, very quick heartbreaking story to y'all?
Yes.
Sure.
Is it going to make me cry?
Yeah, it will.
Oh.
All right. So earlier today, I'm walking down the road with Carrie to get yet another energy drink to get me through my long day. Carrie's my partner. And I was like, hey, I have a really, really, really stupid Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson reference joke coming up in one of my reviews for the show. Do you want to hear it really quick? Because I like to tell him my really bad jokes, kind of test my material on him. And he was like, sure.
I love where this is going, by the way.
I thought. And then I won't say the joke. You'll know when it happens later in the show. But I told him the joke, and he just looked at me, and he was like, does The Rock say that? And I was like, oh my God. And it was just such a sad moment. And so, of course, we broke up. So I don't know.
Hey.
I'm going to cry. No, but yeah, it was actually a really awkward and sad moment between us where I was like, man, I thought I
knew you.
But yeah. So we'll revisit.
Speaking of, should we get to the reviews and previews that we have to tackle tonight?
I'm down. I'm also down to, swap some more sad stories and get to crying, whatever y'all are feeling right now.
I know you didn't have too much time because you got company coming, so I figured we would dive into things and get things going.
Can I do a real quick shout out to my friend Amber? I'm going to meet in person tomorrow, who I met through Otome Twitter. So I'm so freaking excited about that. We've been talking for like a year now. It's almost as big of a deal as when I met Pernell in person. What? That was intense.
What?
I mean, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I'm sorry. She can't compare. She won't compare.
It's okay. I'll toot the horn.
Our meeting is legendary.
Thank you. Always love that.
Our meeting was legendary. But with that said, I hope you have a good time with your new friend that's coming in to visit. You guys get to hang out, play some games, and get some good food in your systems.
It's going to be sweet. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive into these games. We got a bunch to talk about tonight. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beep,
Sure.
beep, 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 beep. Yes.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who does that.
Y'all ready for this?
No one ever laughs, ever.
Yeah.
But I
Tell me
do
about
it
it.
anyway.
I used to say that every time I dropped the plates off at the table when I was waitressing in the Highway Diner that Chris knows. Yeah, nobody ever laughed, and it was really awkward.
Oh.
Star Seeds.
Real quick, sad local Austin story. That place is closing down.
What?
Yeah, they're expanding the highway, so they're losing the building.
Okay, I'm gonna freak out about that later. I'm sorry I keep holding us up. My life is just shattering around me right now. The partnership's over. The place I worked for 10 years is gonna an Austin institution. I'm gonna take a quick break to cry it out while Joe gives us the transition here.
Well, you're first, so don't cry too long. But first game, we got 2 previews to kick off the show. The first game to talk about tonight is Keepers of Astraela, developed and published by GSE Studios. It's slated for a Q3 2024 release on Steam. Dark fantasy otome visual novel that follows a writer whose characters come to life. Join Ava as she fights against forces of darkness, flirts with a fiery man, and consumes all the coffee she can find. Brooke, what is going on in this one?
I actually thought we were starting with Tavern Talk, so I'm rapidly scrolling through my notes. I'm gonna pop us off with a question here. I got a question for you, Pernell. What's your name?
Y'all ready for this? It's Pernell.
Serious, answer the question. What's your name?
What's my name is Pernell.
It doesn't matter what your name is, because no matter what, you're playing.
Oh, God.
You guys.
God! No, I got the joke. I got the joke. I got the joke. And I'm laughing.
You want to talk about cosplay? Rock was my first cosplay, and I'll prove that later with pictures. But anyway,
oh my God!
It doesn't matter what your name is.
You're saying he didn't know that line?
Wait, what?
You're saying he didn't know that line?
He didn't know that line, and it was.
How do you not know that line?
Okay, but Carrie's.
It doesn't matter how he doesn't know that line.
Oh my God! We got to get to the
watch wrestling. I know that line. I've never watched wrestling. I know that line.
So, like, my life is in pieces right now. But anyway, so no matter what your name is, it's not your name. Because in this game, you are playing as a dark fantasy best-selling author, Ava Hale. You also work in a library with your hot, tall male friend, Jansen. But that's beside the point. Jansen, he's hot, but forget about him. He probably doesn't have anything to do with anything. Let's get back to you. You have a dark secret. Fans are starting to wonder how you'll possibly wrap up your best-selling novel series. And so are you, dude. You're not sure how your hit book collection is going to end, because the truth is you've been deciding major plot points in your books based on dreams you've been having about the characters you thought up for years. Since the beginning, actually, that's how you come up with this stuff. But you're not really having those dreams right now in a way that your books need you to. You're feeling pretty dry, inspiration-wise. But not to worry, you have 2 incredibly gorgeous, fine, and smoking hot female friends that you play D&D with every week. They have beautiful sprites in this game. That's how we know they're smoking hot. And you can date one of them. Yeah, this is sick. So this is where we go from, not so much Otome to just Amare, because you can date one of them if you choose, which, I would enjoy this game either way. But definitely angels are singing from heaven in my life when we learned that about the game. Very nice touch. Anyway, these are some really good friends. Whether or not you choose to date one of them, they're amazing friends. They're worried about your book problem, dude. Your problems are theirs, homie. So now that your previous D&D, they were roommates. So now that your previous D&D campaign as a group has ended, they're letting you become the DM for your next run, and it will be set in the fantasy universe you've created in your books, featuring characters you write about to hopefully help give you a little more inspiration. Isn't that nice?
You know what inspires me?
Did somebody
when people drop subs. Root Beer, thank you for the 46-month sub. And apologies for stepping away for a few minutes. My cats are assholes tonight.
They're
Pickle was like attacking Potato, and I had to just pick him up and throw him off of her. So,
Pickle, potatoes are higher on the food chain. Like, why do you do this? Everybody knows that. So yeah, here you are with your nice friends. You're trying to have a nice D&D session like you do when suddenly the neighborhood coffee shop one of your hot friends runs is broken into. Y'all run to the scene of the crime to meet a bunch of cops who won't actually tell you what happened at all. Typical. they say, oh, a mountain lion or something got in here. Y'all are like, really? Why are y'all being so weird right now? Well, good thing your friend runs a security camera in her shop, because then you're checking out the footage with her, and that's no mountain lion. This is definitely at best some sort of mountain lion-esque creature with odd lesions all over its body. Lesions that seem familiar, just like the ones that appear on evil enchanted creatures in your books. You think you're just imagining it, but slowly more and more things from your books start to be seeming to come true. Like your hot, tall friend Jansen from work suddenly has magical powers, exactly like the male lead in your fantasy book, Imris. What the hell, Jansen? And strangest of all, once he runs out of the magical energy he's been using to disguise himself as your hot coworker Jansen, he's starting to look a lot like Imris too. Now, this is just a preview. I gotta keep this short. Given this is a visual novel, it goes without saying that the story is the product here. I will end our little preview of the plot there, referencing that the other thing that this game is offering on a high level, the art for this game, is absolutely stunning. It's different than our classic anime style that we normally see for VNs. It's refreshingly well done. This is like high detail tier, similar stylistically to Mystic Destiny's Serendipity of Eons, if you're familiar. Either way, just look it up. This art, the assets are absolutely gorgeous. The backgrounds are great too. Sprites are great, which makes this game a real heavy double whammy for me, because when it comes to the writing in this game, I found the writing to be fantastic. I could not stop reading it. I couldn't put it down. And it made me realize how rare that is for me. It made me step back. I'm really good at loving visual novels, and I like to think I'm good at enjoying any well-made game objectively and being able to see it, even if it's not my thing. But this, honestly, personally really sucked me in a way that really good books did to me growing up, that frankly sparked my lifelong love for reading and narrative-heavy games. This is billed as an Otome-adjacent Amare isekai game, and while we have had similar themed games in this realm, no doubt, what's going to make or break a game like this is whether the writing is gripping, immersive, fun, and just makes you want to read more. I had such a good time reading this game. It actually made me stop and go, I literally enjoyed this indie game demo more than I have most mainstream visual novels I've played this year. That was really fun. So I felt so strongly about this that as soon as I was done, I went to the Kickstarter page for this game and I backed it at the second highest tier, which is producer level for this game. I've never done this for a video game before. I pledged lots of games that I wanted. I love putting a little bit of my money towards that and supporting artists in genres I love, whether or not their game is my thing. But normally I do this at one of the lowest tiers, whatever gets me the actual digital copy of the game and just throws in the little support. So I've never done this for a video game before on Kickstarter. Now you want to talk about mini terrain, that's a different story of how much money I've spent on Kickstarter, and I don't want to talk about it, but my Dwarven Forge collection it's intense. Please hit me up for some pictures. I have made quite the investment there. All I can really say here is, if you're listening to this, if you're a romance visual novel fan at all, please go play this demo ASAP. If you like it, please make a pledge. I'm personally asking you to donate so this game comes out so I can play it. I was not paid to say any of this stuff. Actually, all I did here was get randomly contacted by the studio, made aware of their free demo anyone can play, asked to give it a shot. I did, and then I gave them a bunch of money. So I was not paid to say any of this. I literally paid them. This never happened to me before. Please play this demo, support the studio, because I believe in this product. And I honestly think as long as this gets made, it's going to be a hit. So don't miss out on this one.
I've added it to my list of games to try.
What kind of goodies do you get with your super high Kickstarter pledge?
I actually don't even know. This happened pretty late last night. I know that I don't know. I decided how much money I wanted to give.
I don't fucking know. I just want
I get to be listed as a producer in the game, and I'm proud to be able to put my name on it, even though I've only read the demo of it so far. I just had a really great time with it. And yeah, honestly, this review hits a lot harder if we do Tavern Talk first and then this one. So let's jump into number 2 here.
Right.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Are you the cute redhead or the cute black girl in this? Because those are the only two girls I saw on their page.
The cute redhead is the one that you are. And it's the black lady that you can date, and she's just really awesome. Her name's Bobby, and she's just a really cool character. It would be very hard for me to pick which of the love interests I would go for in my first.
How many love interests are there?
I believe there's only 2. Yes, please. I know you're hanging out with us tonight. Very scared of that, by the way. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe our love interest is Jansen, maybe possibly even Imris from our story. We don't really know what's going on there. Or Bobby, our really good friend who owns the cafe. So I want to say those are the only two. I wish we could be with the blue-haired lady. I really love that. So maybe we could talk about that as a stretch goal or something. I liked all the characters a lot. And I thought this game also, like, not only is it this, I don't have any more notes, by the way, I'm going off the cuff here, but I appreciated that the art style was so detailed and different from anime, even though y'all know I love anime. Like, it's a character flaw. It's pretty bad. And it really, I found that the game to have a lot of humor that, I don't know, I think Americans and Western readers will really enjoy. I think we have a lot of great localized games out there. That's certainly not why I liked the writing, but yeah, I think this is a very refreshing demo to play, and I highly encourage.
Cool. And GSC confirms that Emers is the male love interest.
Yo, what up?
Oh. All right, well, you do have one other game to talk about. That is Tavern Talk, another preview developed and published by Gentle Troll Entertainment, set to release in 2024 on Steam, a cozy visual novel about running a tavern in a D&D-inspired fantasy. Gather rumors, serve drinks, and meet adventurers on a life-changing quest. Brooke, tell us about your time with Tavern Talk.
Well, first of all, isn't it neat that we didn't even know both of these demos were going to be D&D themed until, like, few days ago? That's pretty cool. Love that. All right. Well, first of all, I have a message to all our listeners who are like, oh yeah, Tavern Talk demo. That demo is on Steam. I played that demo myself. And the message is, no, you didn't. Tavern Talk reached out to us with an exclusive, I'm going to need some air horns here, exclusive, influencer only, air horns please, extended demo. Thank you. And they put, very nice, thank you. And they put each one of those buzzwords in the subject line of the email that they sent to Joe, and we fell right for it. We were like, wow, sounds good, we'll cover this. We're in, by the way, what is Tavern Talk? Oh, I love that. I didn't even know we had that one. Nah,
I love the... I'm sorry, I'm very into the slight delay on the air horns and Brooke slightly panicking.
Nah, and then we just like, I'm just gonna voice the air horns. I also like doing that IRL. It's pretty obnoxious of me. But yeah, nah, I'm just playing seriously. So I haven't played Copy Talk yet, but immediately when Joe sent me this so we could discuss, I was like, oh, this looks like it's basically Copy Talk in a D&D vibes environment, fantasy environment. I haven't played that, but I'm familiar with it because there's a lot of Otome players who have enjoyed that game. I wondered how many. I ran a poll on this week in my community to ask Otome players if they've enjoyed this game. Most people who answered said they liked it. A couple loved it. A couple people said they felt neutral about it. And fun fact, no one answered that they disliked Copy Talk. So that's pretty cool.
Copy Talk is fantastic.
Oh, nice. Cool. I ended up watching some Let's Plays of it because I wanted to prioritize our games, but I also wanted to know more about Copy Talk and how it compares. I do believe, based on some videos I've watched of Copy Talk playthroughs and speaking to my buds in the community, like Aki, who's enjoyed it. If you're a fan of Copy Talk, I do think you'll likely enjoy this one. It's the same basic concept, but set in a classic medieval D&D type setting. I would describe this as 4 parts visual novel, 1 part medieval fantasy bartending simulator. This is mostly a visual novel with some choices. You're playing as someone known only as Innkeeper, no name, except Innkeeper. You do choose pronouns at the beginning of the game, but that's it. Other than that, you're just thrown in. You don't know what your own backstory is here, if any. You make the drinks in the tavern for the adventurers and monsters who visit your tavern. You rent them out rooms when they need rest, but most importantly, as every good tavern innkeeper, barkeep does in medieval times, you collect rumors that you hear from various adventurers you serve. Just like in real life, you can collect 3 related rumors and you can turn those into 1 quest, allowing you to post the quest on your handy-dandy quest board, making the quest available to be claimed by one of those same adventurers you serve. All of them looking for an honest day's work, or if the quest is something to like steal a famous vampire's cloak, a dishonest day's work. Let's not think too hard about it. Drink mixing, cocktail mixing is a big part of the game. We go into a different screen when a drink is ordered and being mixed. We refer to our notebook for the recipe. All drinks are made from 5 basic magical ingredients, each associated with a different stat. Excuse me. Strength/defense, dexterity, intelligence for wizards, etc., etc. Mix the drinks together slowly following a recipe. The recipe, quote unquote, is a shape displayed across a spider or a radar chart, I believe they're called, reaching out into different stat points depending on the type of drink. Once you've mixed appropriately until you meet the right shape, you can serve it to the customer. You can throw away the drink as many times as you need to if you want to start over. There's a very faithful little octopus, reptile, dog type companion with you at all times, ready to happily drink your trash drinks. He's pretty cute. We love him. Now, I do need to keep this preview demo review short, so I will give us a brief overview of some of the characters we will be interacting with, since they may or may not become friends or even more than friends over the course of this narrative-heavy, choices-driven game. I will say there wasn't really any romance to speak of in the demo, but I understand that that's coming, and I like the slow burn on that. I will say a major selling point of this game is how diverse the cast is. Even, putting aside that we're working across different fantasy races in this game, gender is truly treated as a spectrum just as much as it is in real life. I really appreciate that. The first person we meet is Fable. They're a very polite little green-clad elf. They really set up our story here because they're a big fraidy cat. A big part of this demo is encouraging them to chase their dreams and start going on adventures and taking quests, explaining how that system even works to them while simultaneously explaining it to us as the player, and letting them know that they should go on adventures if they really keep dreaming about it, even though it's a little scary and they might die. They blush a lot. They blink back tears. They're very sensitive. Although they're scared of everything, they're very curious about everything, including how we make our drinks, leading us seamlessly into several tutorials for the game because we're explaining how it works to them. Then we meet Carolyn, a werewolf. This is a really tough and strong and brawny person we come for. We have some rippling, fur-covered muscle action going on here. If you're into that, we got 2 different colored eyes, big heavy scars across the face, very gruff. I do think they're bringing us in some delightful tsundere vibes. And in my favorite tsundere fashion, it doesn't last super long because they're not super good at keeping a straight face and playing coy, especially when someone's being sincere at them. Be even a little nice to them, they'll start blushing. Very, very cute little fang smile. This character really grew on me by the end of the demo. We've got Zephyr, a mysterious and shifty, sneaky dude, clad in a black hood and cape. They are so mysterious, we don't get their name until a few chapters in. But this is a pretty one-sided mystery relationship because they seem to know everything about us, from hiding in the shadows, literally stalking you for pretty much no reason, and then bragging about it. I, of course, love this. They're a little soft-spoken for my taste, but otherwise this is my type. Then we have a dwarf named Ray Frostgrip, a very fiery, bearded lady. She is a dwarf with red hair and braids. She's definitely seen a ton of melee battles. And she serves as our next goofy character, straight man pretty much. She's bringing a lot of big, strong, tough, gruff energy in, but unlike Carolyn, there's more abruptness and grumpiness to this personality. The grump is real. There's probably some very real anger management problems going on here with this fiery character. They're much more bristly, not to make too shameless of a beard pun here before we move on. And my personal favorite of the game, the goofy character I just mentioned, is Kyle. Kyle's a vampire. He's also a big, whiny crybaby. He's my fave. He's my baby. Best part of the game for me, hands down. I know this is like a Kickstarter demo. I wasn't totally sure if I loved the art style of the game at first. I know this isn't going to be their last stop with the sprites, but with Kyle, it works and it needs to be this way. When Kyle whines about not getting enough blood or somebody stealing his cape, his lip quivers, the tears roll down. It doesn't take a lot. It's really well done and it's just visually hilarious in a way that doesn't normally work for me. This really worked for me. Otome players may be some of the only folks who understand when I say Kyle is a naturally murderous vampire who would really love to drink some of our blood, has committed heinous crimes, but he's absolutely baby girl. So there's a lot to love there. Bringing me to my next point, comparing this game to Coffee Talk, this game has a lot more humor to it. It's got plenty of serious stuff, don't get me wrong, some serious themes going in here. I have not played Monster Prom, but I know that even some devs of this game have gone on Reddit and been comfortable with the comparison to a Monster Prom quote-unquote level of humor. This is, at the end of the day, a nice goofy D&D fantasy vibes time that does, even from the demo, still approach some heavier themes like any good relationship building narrative game should, in my opinion. What I want to say...
Monster Prom too.
If you recommend that, I will try it out. I actually hadn't heard much about it until Reddit doing a little research on, the devs.
They're fantastic. They will take you forever if you want to see everything.
Okay, I love my monster dating simulators, which is probably, how these people...
Oh, they're so good.
Super good. But yeah, what I want to say is someone tasked with reviewing their extended demo as opposed to their regular one. I'm glad it was the extended demo because I wasn't totally sure if I was hooked by the writing until probably about the end of the demo for me. The writing was a little bit slow for me. I wasn't sure if I liked Fable or Carolyn at first at all. Not the end of the world either way, but I definitely liked Fable way, way more by the end of the demo and found that to be some good character development there. I wasn't invested in my own personal story as someone named Innkeeper until around the end of the demo too. My story didn't seem like I have a lot going on there backstory wise, but turns out I do. No spoilers, because I think the hints that are dropped about what may be going on with your player character by the end of it were pretty cool, and I'm interested to read more and see what they have planned. But yeah, ultimately, while it wasn't an instant gripping read and experience for me, I did instantly like the drink mixing aspect and the little animated lizard dude who drinks my messed up drinks. I love the animation of the backgrounds too. Looked really good. Sound design also excellent. And the rest of the story and the characters just really grew on me from there. Lucky for this exclusive air horns, please.
I don't have them pulled up. Hold on.
Demo.
I'm getting there.
Luckily for this exclusive influencer demo review. Thank you. We don't have to tell you whether to buy it or deny it right now. This is how we felt about it, and we could safely say that try it is currently the only option available for you for this product pre-Kickstarter campaign. Actually, it is the 17th. If I'm not mistaken, that Kickstarter starts tonight. So download the free demo and try it. Support it on Kickstarter if you have a good time with it. And thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
This one's also been added to my wish list.
Nice. I honestly think you would really like it. I think you would like this demo. And if you do play it, you should chat me and we'll talk about it.
Well, this is cool. They already hit their goal.
Yo!
Nice.
Well, congrats, y'all.
Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
Hey!
They had a 21,000 goal, and they're at 25 right now.
Wow.
Nice. With 29 days to go.
They've had some good marketing going on, but that does speak to the quality and the popularity of Coffee Talk too, with the way that they're selling this. So I know there's some overlap in devs there as well. So congrats, y'all, you made it. So everybody, take your money, give it to Keepers of Astraela instead. Not just playing. Just a joke. I did enjoy both of these, and I'm glad I got to play both of these.
Well, we'll have links to both Kickstarters in the show description. Feel free to click down and check them out and support them if you feel that they are worth your money.
Cool.
All right. Well, Brooke, that is it for you. I guess we will let you get going so you could prep for your company.
That's right.
We're losing our Brooke.
Yeah, Ember's coming to town tomorrow, y'all. I gotta clean the bathroom. I gotta wash my hair. Wish me luck.
Amber's coming to town.
If they're listening to this, dude, I'm so happy to meet you tomorrow, and I'm freaking nervous, and I sweat through my clothes earlier, knowing it's gonna happen. So I'm excited, and I did that for you too.
Nervous. He's just as excited to meet you. Don't be nervous. Just have fun.
And don't forget, there's plenty of fish in the sea.
Oh.
Joy to you and me.
Oh my god. Well, I love y'all. See you next Tuesday. I'll come hang out.
See you next week.
Later, buddy.
Hi, hockey.
All right, moving on.
When she does that.
Next game to talk about is Front Mission 2 Remake, developed by Storm Trident, published by Forever Entertainment, released October 5th on the Switch for $34.99. Classic tactical RPG returns. The second game in the main Front Mission storyline is finally available outside of Japan for the first time. Front Mission 2 blends intense strategy with a deep and involved storyline. Chris, what is going on in Front Mission 2 Remake?
Okay, well, Front Mission 2 Remake is, of course, I was going to say it's the sequel to Front Mission First Remake, but I guess it's a remake of the sequel to Front Mission, which, the other remake is based on. I don't actually know how that kind of works. But yeah, this is the remake of the second Front Mission game, of which we already had a first Front Mission game. And same developer as far as I know. So basically, yes, Front Mission 2 is the sequel to, well, it's the direct sequel to the first game, but it's the third game in the series. It's one of those kind of series that has games that aren't numbered, but they're considered part of the canon, etc. There's 2 Super Nintendo games, and then Front Mission 2 is the first one that was on the PlayStation. And then Front Mission 3 is the first one we got over here in the States. So this is the third Japan exclusive Front Mission, And so this is its first time being officially brought over into the States and translated into English, which is great. We love to see a game, arrive on our shores, in 26 years later. But either way, while I have messed around with the original Front Mission, because I actually do own the Super Famicom cart, and plus, it's been fan translated a long time ago, I never got to really play the first Front Mission remake, so I'm not going to be able to compare, apart from what I've read, I'm not going to be able to compare too much between the first and second Front Mission, but from what I understand, they're keeping it pretty consistent in terms of like the looks and kind of how it's presented and how it plays and such. But Front Mission 2 introduced some new elements because, again, it was a more advanced game. And so when you get into it, it actually does a little bit more. And if it's stuff that's already in the first remake, then, feel free to let me know. Again, I was not provided with the first game to compare to, so I ended up buying it, but then I didn't end up playing it. So, anyways. Yeah, Rootbeard, I know. It's called stalling. Thank you. Anyways. So...
Stalling works, I'm just saying. It's very
somebody saying
technique.
I've been talking for a few minutes without saying anything, besides the history of the game.
What you do every time.
What Front Mission is that it is a tactical RPG, and this one, well, of course, we know now, thanks to the internet and fan translations, that Square had been doing tactical RPGs for a while, but the first one we saw in the States was Final Fantasy Tactics. Well, this is a game that is a tactical RPG that came out just a couple months after Final Fantasy Tactics. So this is like early tactical RPG in this style still. The difference is, of course, with Front Mission is that instead of being a bunch of noseless moppets, you are playing as a bunch of mechs. And, mech tanks that are called Wanzers. Wanzers. And yeah, your characters all pilot these mechs that are about, I'd say, like 25 feet high or so. Not like, the big kaiju shaped ones like an Evangelion kind of thing. But more down to earth where they can fight tanks and stuff. And you start off with a crew led by a protagonist named Ash. Stick a pin in that. That's going to come up later. And as you're about to get started on your day, a coup d'etat happens. And this rebel force takes over all of these military compounds at once, begin taking over like the entire country, seemingly out of nowhere. And you are now thrust into a situation where you must fight your way out of not only your military encampment, but your entire country, essentially. You are being ousted and having to fight all along the way. Along the way, you will... uncover, storyline, and you will also meet up with other characters, two of which will become other protagonists. And so you will actually have kind of a split story going down there for a while. And it's very fascinating. And like I said, eventually you will get into situations where you're controlling many mechs and going into many, many battles. Essentially, the game's loop is that... you'll fight a tactical turn-based battle, and then you'll get some storyline, move to a new location, fight a new battle, etc., etc. Occasionally stopping, of course, to, learn some things, purchase some equipment for your tanks, and like I said, get some information and some story. Now, the cool thing is that the tanks are extremely customizable. That is to say, you can do everything from naming like your tank to choosing its paint job. You can arm its left and right arm as well as its left and right shoulder. You can change out its legs. You can even set up the quote unquote computer, which will basically fudge around its stats. So that if you want a mech that is more attuned to distance fighting, then you can set a computer up that way and then give it the appropriate weapons. If you want a melee fighter, you can do that too. And in fact, melee is kind of cool because one of the more popular weapons that you get to use is just this big honking baseball bat, like probably about, 15 feet tall. Just bash them. So battles in this game, like I said, they take place on a grid. You move your guys around, they move their stuff around, and you eventually clash where you can reach each other. and you got to set up your people to get the high ground and the advantage. Actually, the high ground does count in this game, like Final Fantasy Tactics. The cool thing is that you get to choose your weapon that you attack with when it comes time to attack. And not only that, if you are on the defending end, you can actually choose what arm and what implement you're going to use to counter this attack. So if you, let's say, have a shield equipped, you can choose your shield and take a defensive position, take a lot less damage. Or if you're really feeling lucky, or you're just, you're just high on life, that is to say, hit points, then you can choose one of your weapons to counter the enemy with instead of using your shield. And of course, you can also take evasive maneuvers if you like. I've never seen that work, but it is an option that you can choose. But anyways, it's really cool. I like the combat in it, and like that kind of, it scratches that tactical itch. The only thing, so the way that the combat kind of works on a mech to mech basis. Well, I guess your mech and whoever you're fighting, your Wanzer, sorry. Whoever your Wanzer's fighting, whenever you take damage or do damage, it is going to be based, like there's a couple of, like there basically every thing that you fight or are using has different HP pools for different parts of the equipment. So let's say your mech will actually have an HP pool for its arms, for its legs, and for its body. You won't be fully taken out of battle unless your body is crushed, but if your legs are crushed, you can't move anymore, and if your arms are crushed, then you don't have any more weapons. Your guy's just going to sit there with like the two sparky stubs, And there are certain weapons, like for instance the big baseball bat, that's going to mostly target the body because it's just a blunt force trauma right down the middle. But some of the guns, let's say the machine gun, which is really cool because you kind of want, especially since you have a chance to miss, you want that 5 shots to ring out so that at least one of them will hit, right? The problem is, with a few exceptions, it's actually kind of RNG based as to where your guy's going to target on the other guy. So, you may end up going after this guy and you're like, oh, it's just one more shot on his body and he's going down, fool. And then your guy does a pepper spray of like, bullets, and they all hit the legs and don't even take him out and stuff. And you're like, damn it. Now he's going to get a turn on me. So there's a couple of little things that are kind of out of your control. Whether that makes it for a more exciting experience or a frustrating lack of total control on your part is up to you to decide. But, the other thing is that if you crank the difficulty on easy, like I eventually did, then you don't really have to worry about anything. Just play the game. But anyways, so yeah, I really like the writing between the levels. It's very visual novel style. It's just two characters, it's just character portraits talking to each other. There's no voice acting. This is true to the original. In fact, even the Super Nintendo game had the same deal of like big giant ass like portraits, but just text based stuff. People just talking to each other, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, it's cool to be in like a tactical action game with these robots. It's a cool plot that you're going to want to see like unfold and such. And like I said, the difficulty's adjustable. Pretty much everything's adjustable, so you can kind of have the experience that you're wanting. I actually did not know this until I read about it. But apparently there are some like translation and localization foibles in this game. And it's not necessarily the developer's fault. A lot of it is English text that was present in the original Japanese game, but not a lot of care was taken to make sure it was accurate or readable, and it just kind of got left into this game. And the developer has apparently acknowledged this, and they say that this is going to be patched later. So if you're downloading this now, then expect a few awkward translation moments that I guess must have escaped me because I didn't really notice a whole lot there. But yeah, that's Front Mission 2.
Nice. It clocks in at $35. What are your thoughts on the remake?
Well, if this is your first Front Mission 2, from what I can tell, again, I don't know because I haven't played the first game, this one is an improvement over the first game in terms of the mechanics and and like parts of the storytelling even, because it's a remake of a more advanced game. It's just more advanced because they didn't really mess with these games too much. They just made them modern and available. If you are wanting to purchase this instead of the first one, you're welcome to do so, because it is a whole separate story that happens years and years and years after the first game. I haven't seen anything that confused me yet and made me think, oh, this must be covered in the first game. So yeah, this is a kind of a good standalone as far as that goes. I'm going to go ahead and give it a buy it, and I'm going to just add the caveat that you don't have to buy both of the games in order to enjoy this one. But yeah, it's a great, it's originally a Square RPG, even though the developer kind of got absorbed into Square. So it was like a different developer originally, and this is the last game that original developer made. But having said, I mean, it's up to Square standards in terms of like compelling storytelling and, really good RPG combat. So, it's not like a Final Fantasy or anything, but I'd say $35 is a good rate for it. So go ahead and grab it.
Cool. Sounds good.
Thank you. I'm a little winded today, by the way, because I'm not feeling well.
Nah, that's fine. I'm out of shape and fat, so I never sound good.
Well, I think you sound great. I'm just like, especially like just winded by sitting here.
I hope whatever's got you down, you feel better soon. Ugh.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
I think it might be okay. It could be like just the changing of the weather or something like that. So
yeah, 'tis the season. But next game is Trepang 2, developed by Trepang Studios, published by Team 17, released October 2nd on Series X and S, PS5, and PC for $29.99. Become the ultimate badass in Trepang 2, a gory action-packed FPS set in the near future. Unleash all hell on your enemies, dodge bullets, and leave a trail of destruction in this hardcore and frenetic shooter. Aki, tell us about your time with Trepang 2.
Okay. So this is a first-person shooter, and when they say it's hard, it can be real fucking hard. There's like 6 or 7 different difficulties, and there's achievements for beating them on basically all of them, all the way to the hardest one, which is one that the devs don't play on because it's too stupid hard. So, yay! In it, you play as Subject 106. You're in a weird prison-like area, and you are freed one day. And immediately you're able to turn invisible to avoid enemies. Not for very long, sadly. It's only for like 3-4 seconds, something like that. But you quickly find your way out, escape from the handcuffs, get a gun, and then you start wrecking everyone's shit. You have 2 main abilities. One of them is going invisible, in case you didn't figure that part out. The other one is the ability to go into a slow motion time period that they call focus. In this mode, everything moves real slow, except for you. You get to move nice and normal speed, so you can shoot a lot of motherfuckers right in their domes. It is fantastic. It also doesn't last very long, sadly. However, unlike the invisibility one, which recharges over time, this one, your focus only recharges after you get more kills. The more you hurt other people, the more of that energy heals. No, that's not the right word. Recharges. There we go. And yeah, you have no idea who the fuck you are. No one tells you who the fuck you are, even though it seems like they're planning to. They never actually do it. Instead, you're just pulled in by this military group and told, hey, this company was holding you hostage, basically. They imprisoned you. That's why you don't know anything. Let's kill the shit out of them, because they're evil. And then you proceed to do that for like 7 levels of fuck these guys in particular. The levels aren't particularly long. All the main story levels can be beaten, each one in 30 minutes to maybe an hour and a half at most. And after you beat a couple levels, you start unlocking side missions. And there's a few different ones. There's, I believe, more side missions than there are main missions in this game by a few. Side missions can range anywhere from go here and hack these computers while waves of enemies just keep continuing to spawn until you're done. Or, hey, go here, investigate this thing, and deal with enemies when they show up, or so on and so forth. It's basically waves of enemies, basically, and all of them, it's just what else you're doing sometimes changes a little bit. You have access to all of these levels as you see fit. There's a mission board, basically, and you can choose whatever mission you want to play. Obviously, for the main mission ones, you have to beat them in order to unlock them all and to unlock all the side missions. But once they're unlocked, you can replay as you see fit, and anytime you go in to play it, you can choose to play it on a harder difficulty if you so desire. Whilst you beat these things on different levels and different difficulties and grab your collectibles and shit, you also unlock unlocks. It's the worst way to say that, but you know me. Some of these range from being able to get weapons from supply crates in your base so you can equip them before you go into missions. Certain levels, just playing them on any difficulty will unlock certain guns, but other guns, you have to play it on like normal, beat this level on normal, or beat this level on hard or very hard, or what the hell ever. And basically just allows you to grab that weapon, make sure you have all the ammo for it before you start the mission, so you can go in fully kitted out, ready to kill the shit out of things some more. You also unlock things like different types of grenades. There's also the ability to customize your character's look, gloves, boots, pants, and a shirt. They have a whole fuck ton of different customization there for you. So much of it is locked behind, go beat the game basically on this entire very hard difficulty and all the higher ones to unlock even more. So have fun with that. That's totally not a bitch whatsoever. And all your abilities and stuff that you unlock, because you get one extra ability, which is basically being able to dual wield any weapon. It doesn't matter what weapon it is. If you can find a second one in that level, you can pick it up and dual wield it.
Nice.
You want dual wield shotguns? Fucking go for it. You want to dual wield pistols? Go for it. SMGs? Go for it. Sniper rifles? Fuck yeah. Who cares? Do it. Have fun.
Lord.
Yeah, it's some crazy shit. And even when you're dual wielding, you can still throw fucking grenades. It is great. The game, however, does get ridiculously difficult. And there are achievements for beating it on all the harder difficulties. It goes easy, normal, hard, very hard, extreme, and then rage.
Oh, geez.
Each one of them has a little bit of text for each one. And when it hits extreme, it says, yeah, have fun with this. Use every exploit that you can, because even we devs have trouble with this mode.
Oh, Lord.
And then there's a rage mode, which is harder. And they're already on the extreme mode. They're already like, yeah, be prepared to die. Use every exploit. We have trouble beating this. And then there's a harder mode. Like, what the fuck, guys? Come on, please. No, don't do this to me. And not only do you unlock all that cool shit, but you can also unlock cheats in game that you can use. Sadly, if you use them, it blocks achievements for that level.
Boo.
That's exactly how I thought, because I went painstakingly to get one of them. I was like, if I can get this one cheat, you have to beat the very first level on extreme, which is a bitch, and it took me like hours to beat
My
something.
cats are fighting again. I'll be right back.
All right. It took me hours to beat this level. My first run through it, not knowing where anything was, took me like maybe 30 minutes. So it was hard. And it unlocked the ability to use your cloak infinitely. So it's like, awesome, cool. I get to just stay invisible. With this, I can beat the game on the hardest difficulty, probably, maybe, I don't know, hopefully. And then when I went to turn it on just to, have some fun, it was like, oh yeah, by the way, no matter what difficulty you play on, it's only going to be counted on as very easy. So have fun with that, I guess. So it blocks all your achievements, so you can't get progress towards anything. And if you pick up a collectible that for some reason you didn't already pick up while that is on, while one of the cheats is on, it doesn't count it towards that achievement, but it also doesn't allow you to repick it up. So be careful with that, because that's been an issue since day one, apparently, and it's apparently never been fixed, which is a shame. I'm hoping that they change that, because this was originally a PC game. For anyone here who's a PC master race, everyone already knows that first-person shooters play a lot better on a PC because you have more finite control, you move a lot faster, etc., etc. So I really hope they change it to where you can use the cheats to allow you to get achievements, because Jesus, I'm never going to get this. I probably could get the achievements in this. I don't have the fucking time to get that good, though. Because I think I could probably beat it, but it would take me a couple months to be able to beat it on the hardest difficulty. So I'm hoping they'll change that. I doubt they will, but my fingers are crossed.
Well,
but yeah.
The game clocks in at $30. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it was a pretty fun game just to fuck around with. Its story is okay-ish, but it's a really good, really fun, really fast game. So I really enjoyed it. If you don't mind it being hard as shit, then yeah, I totally suggest it. I think it's well worth the $30 it costs. It was really fun. The only drawback I have is everyone was like, it's like Fear. It's nothing like Fear. And that was the main reason why I was like, yes, I want this game, because everyone was comparing it to Fear. And I was like, yes, anything that's like Fear, I want. And it's not. It's not like Fear at all. Like, yeah, you have the focus ability, which is something that you had in Fear 3. That's it. It's like, oh.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, I totally suggest it. I think it's real fun. And for achievement hunters, good fucking luck. You have to beat it on extreme and in rage mode. 100% the entire game, including all the wave-based side missions. Good fucking luck, motherfuckers.
Ah, well. You'll do it eventually.
I don't know about that.
Next game to talk about is Zombie Soup, developed by AeonSparx Interactive, published by Astrolabe Games, released September 26th on Xbox Series X and S for $19.99. Zombie Soup is a top-down shooter combined with hack-and-slash action that follows Ricky, a backpacker who's thrown into an unexpected adventure in an unfamiliar town as he shoots and dodges his way through hordes of bizarre creatures, challenging bosses to save a kidnapped girl. Pernell, tell us about your time with Zombie Soup.
Ricky is an individual who's traveling on a train. He falls asleep on the train, though, because of course one does when they're just not really concerned about where they're going. And he wakes up well beyond his destination and stopping at a mysterious town. Disembarking from the train, he realizes that things seem a little bit quiet in this location, but he does come across that one girl that you mentioned in your description, who gives him a nice glance, says a few nice words to him, and he goes, crap, I didn't ask her for her phone number. Yeah, because he's clearly not concerned about where the hell am I. He's worried about getting a number. Anyway, he trails after her to see where she went, and lo and behold, he discovers, trouble's afoot. In the form of, because of course there are monsters in this town, and they have kidnapped her with the intent to throw her into a vat of soup. This begins one of many attempts to rescue her over the course of the game, where you have to pretty much engage the game immediately, and this is pretty much the narrative of the game as a whole. You're trying to get out of this town, you're trying to rescue her, and you're doing this through a fair bit of running and gunning in a top-down action extravaganza. So, the general gist of the game is that you'll be moving from location to location as the narrative requests you to do. And as you are doing so, monsters will pop up. Sometimes they'll walk into the screen. Other times they'll be in a room when you open a door. And other times, depending on the monster, they'll just appear out of thin air and just try to wreck your face. And when this happens, you are tasked with taking them out. You have a melee attack that you can swing with the trigger button. You can also hold it down to do a charged melee attack. And you have a gun that is your primary gun and secondary guns, which will pop up sometimes when enemies drop them. Primary guns have unlimited ammo, but when they run out of ammo on a typical clip, you have to reload it and go at it again. Secondary guns, on the other hand, have extremely, not I won't say extremely, that's kind of down oversaying it, but they have limited ammo, and when the bullets run out, so too does the gun. Bada bing, bada boom. However, I will say that in most cases in the game, you're likely to always have some gun on tap that you can pick up off the ground and not be limited to just having your primary gun, which is a good thing because when I wasn't rocking the shotgun, I generally found myself wishing I had a secondary gun in my disposal. So this game does something a little weird with the primary weapons, though, in the form of how they determine what primary weapon you're allowed to have. This game institutes a class system of sorts, where at different points in the game, you will unlock different classes that are associated with things like, the novice class or the rifle class. And when you unlock these things, you can go into a loadout screen that you can find when you stumble across refrigerators littered across the game map. Yes, I did say refrigerators because this game wants to be that weird. And
interesting.
Once you come across a fridge, you can eat to some rest your character, but a la Dark Souls, when you do rest your character, all the monsters you kill will respawn, so you got to kill them again. But you can also change your loadout, and that loadout does in fact include that class system that I mentioned. When you change your class, you get a different primary weapon, like a shotgun or a rifle or a pistol, etc., and you also get a different melee weapon, and they range from like knives and like axes and the like. You aren't beholden to just the ones you start with, though. As you play the game, you will occasionally. I want to say I'll talk more about that in a minute. In addition to those classes, there are also sort of character perks that you can have as well. They come in the form of 5 different tiers, and each time you go into one, the tier can have 1 to 3 or so different things you can unlock in them, and you can equip one tier at a time, or one perk per tier at a time. So you might have, like a reload speed one and one perk. You might have melee damage increase in another tier, and then you're like, yeah, I'm building my god in a sort of customized way. Now, back to the other thing. You're not stuck with just the primary and melee weapons that you start with by the class you choose. As you play the game, you will occasionally come across different challenges that are in the form of, like vending machines. I couldn't quite tell what they were from the game. I just knew I saw a red box-looking thing, and that was enough to say challenge time. These were usually like time challenges where you have to kill a certain number of monsters with some conditions like restraints or the like. And when that happens, if you win, you get the quote-unquote blueprints for a new weapon in one of the classes, of which you can then spend money, which you earn from, killing enemies and fulfilling side quests every once in a while in the game to unlock them and have access to them. So as far as the game goes, I genuinely do think it's a fun time. It's not rewriting the book on anything, and it's not going to make you go, oh man, this is some crazy shit. But I will say that when I was playing it, I was having fun. I enjoyed it. With that said, though, there are times that there is an aspect of this game that may either entice a person or piss a person off. And that is the boss fights. When you're playing the base game, when you're just going from room to room, just taking dudes out, enemies can be a little tough at times because they do make you do a lot of fighting in claustrophobic tight spaces. But for the most part, they're manageable, and you will get through them decently. And even if you do die, the game is pretty generous about contigues. The bosses, on the other hand, are damage bullet sponges. They will eat shots. And I mean, they will eat your shots. It's funny how when you beat a boss, the game will generally make a pop-up that lets you know how long it took you to beat them. And there are trophies or achievements that will unlock if you can beat bosses in less than 5 minutes. And typically I pull that off. But what I will tell you is that it doesn't feel like it's been 5 minutes. It feels like it's been 10 minutes. Sometimes it might feel like 20 minutes. And you want to know why? Because you'll be fighting a boss. They absorb bullets like Winn-Dixie, which means right then and there, you're already kind of getting that level of tension, which means time gets a little distorted in your mind. And then when you're about 3/4 of the way through the fight, he does a one-hit kill attack. That takes you out because you didn't dodge it, because at least for the first boss, other bosses later, I didn't have this problem in the same manner. But he did an attack that caused the game to go into slow motion, as if to say, hey, we want to give you time to dodge this thing. The problem was I couldn't quite grasp what timing they wanted me to have. It'd have been better if they just didn't slow the game down at all. Just let me do it. But instead, I died like 4 times. Like, is that the timing? No, that's not it. Time to do this fight for another 3 minutes. No, not the timing. 3 more minutes until I eventually got it right. After that, it became less junk like that and more just flat out bosses can start doing some bullet hell pattern type stuff, and you just happen to die on the back half of the phases, and you got to do it all over again. Now, people like me who have a weird obsession with difficult games that also make me retry things over and over again, not as big a deal for me. There are some other folks out there, no judgment, that would likely say the exact opposite. I am okay with a little bit of a challenge, but I'm not all about retries over and over again. And even though the game will say things like having trouble with a boss, change your class, maybe change your perks. Yeah, it's all well and good, but here's the rub. I mean, you do get better weapons over time, but this isn't like a lot of other games where you might be able to say upgrade your weapon a little bit or maybe tweak to get that one better gun that might give you an edge. You have the guns you have at the point you get to these bosses. Unless you happen to miss one of the unlock machines or something, which generally is more you're getting melee weapons before you're getting guns. What you have is what you've got. So there will be no go get a little stronger and try again. You have to figure it out. So if that's not your cup of tea, you might want to not look at this. But I will say, like I said, for the most part, at least in my experience, I had a good time with the game. It didn't rewrite the book on top-down twin-stick shooters, but it was a fun time for what it gave me. Vibrant with color. I actually liked the character voices, and I just had a fun time with it. So I don't want to give it I want to give it quite the buy it treatment. But you should do your thing. I guess that'd be a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, and you're like, I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm gonna do it.
I'm going to say it.
I'm gonna say it without you asking. $20 on Zombie Soup. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't think I can give it quite the buy it treatment because, again, it's not knocking the walls off and anything like that, and it's not even like really gnawing at me to say I gotta get back to that game. But I did find it enjoyable. And I do know the boss thing can be a bit of a rub for some players, depending on who they are. So I am going to give it a high-end try. I do believe that if you heard what I said about the game and you do decide to pick it up, I think you'll have a good time.
Cool. Sounds good.
I hope so. I gave it a high-end try.
Looks cute. I want to give this one a go myself. I didn't have time to play it, but it's been a week, man. This whole Peaches situation has been like so draining on me. Her and the vet appointments and everything else. Man. Anyway,
the things you do for our family pet friends. I mean, it's just how it goes.
They're our family. They are.
Peaches come from a can. Say what?
I resisted my Peaches joke.
Peaches for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, next game to talk about is Alphadia 1 and 2, developed by EXE-CREATE, published by KEMCO, released October 12th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $19.99. The Legends of Energy once again in a new edition step into the enchanting world of Alphadia, a revitalized epic fantasy RPG series that merges the first 2 titles into a single captivating adventure. Chris, what is going on in Alphadia 1 and 2?
All right, Alphadia 1 and 2. Well, as the possibly foremost expert on the whole internet of KEMCO EXE-CREATE games, I can actually speak to this quite a lot because this is actually the original KEMCO EXE-CREATE RPG. That is to say, the first Alphadia came out in 2007. Which, by the way, it's been re-released like 4 different times, but the way I played it first was on the 3DS, because it was released on the 3DS in 2015. Since it was first developed in 2007 and re-released on the 3DS in 2015 and is now coming out in 2023, the 3DS version is actually between the two. It's 8 years between the re-release that I played and the re-release I'm talking about now. So I just thought that's the kind of like weird things that I like to do, is like calculate that kind of stuff. And when something hits the middle of something like that, then it's great. Anyway,
as long as you realize it's weird, that's all that matters.
I mean, it happens on Twitter all the time. People love to do that. like the one that just came out recently about how the PlayStation 3 is now older than the Super Nintendo was when the PlayStation 3 came out. Yes, that's the reaction I'm looking for.
We're all old, and this hurts my soul.
You're not.
My back.
Yeah. So,
how's Alphadia?
Well,
Back hurts.
the first Alphadia came out in 2007, and it was a mobile-only game from KEMCO and EXE-CREATE. It followed the adventure of a character named Ash. It was a male protagonist.
That is a fantastical thing. I didn't know you had it in you.
Yeah, I can do voices. So, as if you don't speak, retirement home. The original Alphadia came out in 2007, and of course, being the first mobile RPG from KEMCO and EXE-CREATE, it all the tropes began right here. We follow our male protagonist, whose name is Ash. Now you got the chance to take that pin out that I've been asking you to hold since the Front Mission 2 review. Yes, that's right. Linking these reviews together, I have two male protagonists named Ash. Anyways, yeah. So it's got Ash, and then of course the female character deuteragonist, who is the potential love interest, comes from a different country, is escaping the Schwarzschild. I don't know. Some German name Empire, who kind of serves as like the big bads of the game and the antagonistic like country who's chasing you, along with her bodyguard and your friend and also sister, and also you later meet a sixth member of the party. The cool thing is you actually end up with a party of 5 like at the intro. This game wastes no time in dumping just the entire cast onto your and the cast for the rest of the game, essentially, except for one, the character who starts off being called 1417 and is later given a proper name. She is known as Enna, and she's kind of like the mascot of EXE-CREATE. She's actually in all the Alphadia games, even though, well, I don't know about that. She's in all the Alphadia games I've played. Interestingly enough, there's 5 Alphadia games that are numbered. And then, of course, there's Alphadia Genesis 1 and 2, Alphadia Neo, and et cetera, et cetera. But, like, there were 5 Alphadia numbered games that came out before they even got around to an As Divine. So there's a lot of Alphadia that I don't know about because it hasn't come over here yet. 1 and 2 are the only 2 that have come over here that are the proper numbered games. But anyways, so yeah, Enna joins you later on, and you get to learn her origin story in the first game. And here's the thing about the first 2 Alphadias. This is before, because the main criticism of KEMCO EXE-CREATE RPGs is that, they just look like it's kind of like a monthly game that just, they crank out of RPG Maker or whatever and, sell to people for $8 or $15, depending on the system. That wasn't so back at this point. They were actually concerned, I think, with making a compelling RPG with like good stories, and the graphics were, 2007 smart, cell phone style. But that's where this thing comes in, is because this is actually a really good remake. You've got the 32-bit style of like sprites against, pretty good backgrounds and, good animations, things like that. It's nice and colorful, great soundtrack. But this one actually has like smooth scrolling, 8 directions that you can move in. You can move diagonally, and no screen tearing. Take that, Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. Yeah, there's no screen tearing, and there's no like awkward like dithering or anything like that. This is actually a proper remake that looks new, and that's really, really good. Even the character portraits have been redone to look better. The other thing is that this game functioning as a 2-pack is actually really cool because what they introduced in the 2 games. Oh, by the way, the second game, it's a different story, actually, believe it or not. And it stars a male protagonist named Leon and the female deuteragonist who is a potential love interest. And then Enna joins you pretty much right away. And, so on and so forth. But anyways, the thing about this collection that I really appreciate is that if you beat the first game first, and don't just start on the second game, which why would you? But if you actually complete all of the extra stories and things like that in the first game, it unlocks more story content in the second game that links back to the first game. And if you get all of those, you get an extra actual exclusive ending to the second game that wraps it all up. Actually ties the two stories together. The story otherwise is just the same as the original release, but which again is only available on mobile phones. So, it's not even a 3DS game. I would very much not expect anybody to have really played Alphadia 2. I don't even think it came out on Steam, but I could be wrong about that. I forgot to research that. Anyways, it's really cool. They actually do tie the two games together. They expect you to play through both of them, and they're not short games. I actually have my 3DS open, except that it turned itself off. Whoops. But I actually bought this on the 3DS back in 2015 and played most of the way through it. I'm actually at the end game now, and I was going to open it and look at my timer, actually. But while we're waiting on that to cook, some other things that weren't in the original Alphadia, they actually did kind of bring some modern things from the modern EXE-CREATE games back to Alphadia. One of them is the shop with the exclusive items and its own special jewelry currency. And also the 25 hours. That's how much I played the first game. So the first game's a 25-hour RPG, and the second game is pretty equivalent. So we're looking at like 60 hours or 50, depending on how fast you want to play. And that actually ties into what I was just about to say. We have the exclusive shop with the exclusive items. You can boost character stats permanently with those. You can increase your gold, your experience. And you can also do those, of course, with the paid DLC, which wasn't available before. And they brought that over. The thing is, they also brought over the lottery system. It's actually a daily roulette game where you can spin the wheel 3 times per day, and that's it. You actually don't have an extra currency to spin the wheel for game breaking weapons. This game does not feature game breaking weapons. You have to buy weapons at a shop and actually upgrade them upgrade yourself periodically. That is something that they more or less did away with in the modern games. With this game is actually more of a throwback to the classics, because you actually do have to stop by the shop, buy some new weapons and stuff. There's no way to lottery roll yourself the ultimate sword or anything like that. There's no weapons eating weapons. You gotta sell your old stuff. There's actual items that you can pick up that you have to keep on top of and things like that. It actually acts more like a standard RPG. And like I said, that includes the storyline. Characters actually grow and relate to each other and overcome annoyances with each other and stuff. Like the guy that's the bodyguard that was traveling with the lady I mentioned earlier, he's a real asshole, but you get to learn about him and get some growth and kind of form a little bit of a bond with him. Not for any kind of cool points or relationship combos or anything like that, like in some of the later games. It's just so that you have it's just so they can tell a story. It's actually more of a classic RPG than we're used to, but I really like that it's been given the facelift at least of a modern game, and a couple of the little fun things that are there. Again, you get arena coins, which is kind of a different thing, because there is an arena, or guild coins, I guess what they call them. But then there's also the monster arena, things like that. The last thing I'm going to say is that very interestingly, so I mentioned how the two games are tied together. Well, the thing is, if you go into, just like in the new games, if you go into the shop and the special shop and buy the special items that increase your experience, your gold, make things easier for yourself, how it makes you save your game and stuff before you do that, because you're locked into your decisions that way. Well, here's the thing: you're locked into those decisions in both games. If you have a game of Alphadia 1 and Alphadia 2 going, and you purchase the double experience item or something, that item is now in both your games. So as you collect that stuff in Alphadia 1, it's going to carry over into Alphadia 2, so you don't have to worry about saving up for that stuff again. By the same token, you can't just start a new game and expect to have another 200, or 150 bonus crystal points or whatever. if you spend all your crystal points, it is spent in all of your games that you have saved to that profile. So, I mean, that's not a big deal now because obviously we're not sharing like the Super Nintendo or anything like that. Like, it's not all coming off the same family cart. Yeah. Obviously, different users are going to have different experiences, but it is cheese proof in the sense that you can't just bully your way into getting like better items or anything like that. But I really like that if you improve one game with like a permanent like game improving item like in the meta, it actually will affect Alphadia 2 as well as Alphadia 1, which is good because Alphadia 2 is slightly harder. So, you know, you kind of do need those little boosts where you can get them. But yeah, there you go.
Cool. Well, Alphadia 1 and 2 is a $20 package. A little more expensive than the usual KEMCO games, but you are getting 2 games in this one. What are your thoughts on $20 for Alphadia 1 and 2?
Honestly, you know, I've always found Alphadia to be the more charming of the series. I like it more than I like As Divine. I like it more than a lot of the goofy one-offs. I always get annoyed at the ones where the protagonist is like an annoying like misanthrope, and that's the second game in this chapter. They actually did start this right away of having the alternate goody two-shoes hero, and then the you know, real drip of a hero in the next game. You know, they literally started that with the first 2 games they did. So, you know, again, I think that I've played a lot more Alphadia 1 than Alphadia 2, but having both these games together, having them have these tied in things, the fact that they run so smooth and like, even though different, you know, like the original games, they share the same soundtrack. So it's not like you're getting all that much more out of the second game. It's more like just a sequel that is the same assets, you know? Yeah. That having said, I think this is not only a buy it is like, I would say the buy it of the EXE-CREATE set, because you're getting the first game in the EXE-CREATE series, so that kind of will set up a context for the rest of it. It's the most faithful to old school RPG enjoyers as a fan base, rather than trying to hit those addiction centers in your brain with like, get all the crystals and then roll for the best weapon, you know, have your weapons eat up all the other weapons, but you know, they get dropped, you know, 5 times in every battle or whatever. You know, it's like all this stuff is fine, but it's like, I think that this is like the most worthwhile to actually play and enjoy, like for what it is. And, you know, I like the recurring character. I like Enna a lot. So I think it's worth it just to see our girl in action. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give this a pretty strong buy it, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Moving on. Next game is My Little Universe, developed by Estoty, published by SayGames, released October 5th on Switch and Steam for $14.99. Stranded on a barren moon with nothing but your tools, fuelless ship, and celestial powers of creation, you are destined to recreate what was once lost and be the hero of your own little universe. Don't forget to call in up to 3 of your friends to join in your journey in the split-screen co-op mode. Pernell, tell us about your little universe.
Okay, this should be a pretty short review, I feel like, because of the nature of the game, but let's see where I can go with this. My Little Universe can best be described as a clicker that you move the character around on specifically. You don't just tap the screen, you move the guy too, and has to make like bits of decisions here. Because the way the game works is that the game immediately plops you down onto a planet. You're like kind of stranded there pretty much. And you, at the time, you want to assume you want to explore / get off the planet. But what you do know is that there are things around you and you want to interact with them. Because of course you do. You think some kind of monster? Come on.
I would be a monster if I didn't give a shout out to Trash Rando, who just subbed to us. Twitch.
That's what's up. Trash Rando. Not just any rando. Not just any rando. A trash rando. The best kind of rando. So you end up walking around and you'll see around you there are various objects like trees, rocks, and you may also find yourself seeing that there are like a little white, maybe a white square or 2 lying on the ground. And you might be wondering what the heck to do with all these things. Well, the game will quickly lean you into what you want to do with those things in a small but quick process of letting you discover various things that you can use to interact with the world, such as an axe that you might find on the ground. And when you pick up that axe, you are now able to cut down trees. Cutting down trees will give you the resource reference known as wood. And then you might find one of those little tiny white squares I mentioned at the edge of the island that says you need 10 wood squares. You dump the wood squares in, and a new island is born, just like a hexagonal tile. You walk up to that one, you do it again, and again, and again. And then eventually you might find yourself going, oh boy, this one needs wood and rock, but I don't have any rock. Well, explore some of the zones you may have unlocked, because what you'll discover is that now you can find a mattock or pickaxe, depending on what culture you're coming from. And that will now allow you to break rock. Breaking rock allows you to get stones and clay and gems and minerals and all sorts of things. And now you can collect that resource too. Y search for P for a few other things, and you'll find yourself getting caught up in a loop where you are destroying objects like crazy as you come across them to collect the resources from those objects, then in turn use those things to produce new islands that you can walk up to progress onward even further. You might find yourself coming across a means to upgrade one of the things you found, like the pickaxe or your sword, because you do find a sword to fight enemies every once in a while too. And you can use some of the resources you've collected to upgrade those things, which now allows you to break objects faster or defeat enemies faster. And you'll be doing that. You'll be doing that a lot, because that is the game. What are some things you can discover, mind you? Well, there is a bit of a goal in mind here. You're not just doing it ad nauseum with no purpose. No, you're doing it ad nauseum with a purpose, because you're ultimately looking for the means of which to build your rocket back up and escape this doomed planet. In which case, then the main game will begin. And then from then on, you'll be finding yourself on different planets, and you'll be looking to get the resources required to complete a teleportation gate, which will allow you to move on to new locations and new worlds, where you'll then in turn do all of it all over again. You might find yourself coming across NPCs that might want you to provide them with some resources to help them out, or you might come across a boss enemy that you might need to attack until they die, and then in turn you'll be able to move on. Though I'll be honest with you, the enemies in this game are, in true to a clicker fashion, they're kind of a joke. As long as you're not sleeping at the switch and you know how to move your character around a bit, or just switch to the sword, if the game doesn't automatically do it for you, which it generally will do, your character will kill the enemies, including bosses, who do have more powerful attacks, but they're telegraphed so well that you'd have to be blind to miss them. With this in mind, though, you might be hearing me talk and might be thinking, well, man, he's really bashing this game. No, I'm not. I'm just describing a clicker. Literally describing a clicker. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, there are things you'll walk around and you'll discover and go, oh boy, this is kind of cool. Like, for example, each world you come across, there are these like sun sparks that are hitting around. Sometimes they'll be hitting just on a random tile you discover. Sometimes they might be hitting a little mini dungeon you can discover. Don't get me wrong, the dungeons are literally just mini versions of places where you break objects and the like. But you might find more of these things. And if you come across enough of them, you can turn them into an NPC on the island to unlock a new costume for your character, to make him a little bit more individualized, because your default version of you is literally just a stick figure with no costume attachment. So, especially if you're going to end up playing with your friends down the line, you're going to want to look a little unique for yourself. There it is. I got one in there. So, with that said...
Sorry, I didn't unmute on time.
So, with that said, it's like, do I feel like there's anything wrong with this game? No, there's nothing wrong with the game. It literally is just the game. If you're okay with the idea of, just kind of laying back, relaxing, giving yourself a bit of busy work as you run around and progress, because keep you not, I do know a number of people who do say they like the feeling of playing games where they don't feel like they can lose. They just want to engage and enjoy themselves by accomplishing a task. If that's your kind of game, there you go. If that's your kind of thing where you just want to feel like just by doing, you're ultimately going to win, this is your game.
Sweet.
If you like the feeling of constantly improving your character and seeing bigger and bigger numbers that then get turned into make larger and larger islands, this is your game. If you're looking for a game that has tons of depth and you'll come to love the characters and the world you experience, this is not your game. Though I will admit you can come to love the world, because I do like the visuals in this game. I like the thing that made me interested when you offered it to me was I like the whole stick figure aspect of it. Just like there's like another game called Europa that I liked last year that was also like big stick figure man exploring the world. I love that kind of stuff. Visually the game is pretty and you will come to appreciate that, but don't come to this game expecting depth just come to it expecting an activity that you may well enjoy, because it is enjoyable. And I'll be blunt, even if you don't enjoy it, if you're not careful, you'll still dump time into this thing. That's just how these games work. They freaking get you. It's disturbing and creepy, but they freaking work, man. So there you go.
Well, this one clocks in at $15. What are your thoughts on My Little Universe?
I think it is a try it in that regard. It's not a bad game by any means. It's not a must get by any means either. But it is a game that I feel like if you acquire it, even if you don't like it, just by starting it up, you're putting some time into it. It's just the way the game is. It's just how it works. You're going to play it, which in turn may make you still come away and say it was worth the money I spent on it, just because.
Cool. All right, next up, Chemically Bonded, developed by DS Sans, published by Ratalaika Games, released October 13th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5 for $9.99. Enter the melancholic life of an ordinary Japanese high school male as you become entwined in the dispute between two neighboring female students. Aki, I know you like to get in between two females, so tell us about this one.
You have no idea how you are. You might think you don't have any idea. So in this you play as some random schmuck. You get to name him as you see fit, and you're a loser. You don't have any friends. No one talks to you. You know, again,
Damn.
You're a loser.
Harsh. Why you gotta talk like that, Aki?
A loser is what a loser is. I can't help that.
Guilty.
Exactly. And suddenly, one day you're, in Japanese schools, at the end of the day, a couple students are supposed to clean the room instead of, janitors. And your room, for some reason, you can't find mops, you can't find buckets, you can't find any of the cleaning supplies that are usually sitting in the room off in a corner somewhere. So you go to the science room, which is super far the fuck away. Why there wasn't any in any of the other rooms that were, close to you, I have no idea, but whatever. And you meet this young girl who's also in your class, and she's like, "Oh yeah, there's the room has one. Let me go find it for you." Turns out she's supposed to be the shithead who wasn't there, who was supposed to be helping you. So that's great. And you get pulled into her science club, to which she is the only member. And to be an official club, you have to have at least 5 people and a teacher to watch over it, which she has none of. So this begins your life with Kyoko. And yeah, she is this little bundle of joy and happiness and not all there-ness, who has the voice of like a, I don't know, middle schooler maybe, which makes her voice sound terrible. But she's super nice and she's super cute and she's super adorable and she's super friendly and she's great. And you find very quickly that there's this really popular girl in the school, basically the super athletic girl that everyone dreams of, that turns all the straight girls gay, turns all the gay guys straight. Everyone wants this person. They don't get along, the two of them, not at all. And this super popular sportsy girl, she's kind of what would I call her? A massive fucking cunt. Yeah, that's the terms I would use. Yes. She can't open her mouth to say a nice thing at all. Like, we know how rude I can be, but I am occasionally nice. She's not. She starts as bitch and ends as bitch, and everywhere in between is bitch. It's like, for fuck's sake. But she really likes to dress down this girl and you, because you exist. So she always has to belittle you every time she meets you. Great voice, great body, great look, terrible personality in every conceivable fucking way. Just like, okay, these are your 2 choices for this game, by the way, folks. Take your pick. the one that sounds like a child but is otherwise great in every way, or the one who has the worst personality in the existence of fucking ever, but otherwise is very amazing. Make your choice. It's hell no matter what. Yay!
Damn, that sounds like my kind of time.
Yeah. And basically you get stuck between these two morons because they used to be friends. And it's up to you to figure out how they were friends, why they're not friends anymore, because both of them still want to be friends, but are too stupid to be like, hey, I still want to be your friend. Can we make up? They for some reason can't comprehend that concept. So you have to figure out how to get these two idiots to be friends again. Woo! That's the major crux of this story, is getting to know each of these girls, or this girl and this cunt, however you want to say it, and get them to be friends again. Why anyone wants to be friends with that massive cunt, I have no fucking clue, but to each their own, I guess. They really like to call her a tsundere, and for those of you who aren't weebs, that basically is a prepubescent boy, basically. They're really mean to people they really like, which is why she's such a massive cunt.
I think that's 4 uses now.
Yeah.
5?
Yeah. Anytime I bring her up, it's going to be with massive cunt, because that's just 6. Every second.
Anyway, is this a kinetic visual novel?
No, this has choices, because as I stated, you have 2 love options here. As such, it has to be an adventure one, or else you'd only have one choice. The story, there's lots of the story is the exact same between both runs, because obviously you're dealing with both girls on a semi-regular basis and then split off the deal with each one individually. And during those sections, when you go off to deal with one individually, those will change based on your choices, because you might deal with one and, say, not deal with a massive fucking cunt. So, it's great. You get to make your choices. I chose the wrong one first, clearly. It's not short, in any conceivable way. It's like I would say for y'all, since you read faster than me, it's probably 5 hours for each run, for each girl.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's actually really good, especially for a smaller visual novel like this. It deals with very basic, high school level drama and stuff. It's not gonna be anything that change your world or rock your socks off, but it's like they behave like high schoolers. Their dumb shit is dumb shit, but we know that because we're adults and we've lived through that, and it's like. That's one of the characters is like, oh, I bet you didn't know things went that deep, right? And it's like, your complaint was that you're not friends and you want to be friends. That's not deep the fuck at all, girl. I don't know what you're talking about. But in high school, that shit felt deep. It's not, and we know that as adults. But in high school, it felt that way, and that the writing of this and how they interact with each other is very high schooler-ish, which is amusing. Sometimes it's irritating, but other times it's like, yeah, this is exactly how they would interact with each other, how they would react to things. Yes, I like this. It's very realistic in that sense. And yeah, the characters, depending on your personality, like Brooke, I'm sure would like that girl. I fucking hate her. But Brooke would love her, I'm sure. So, everyone has their own little piece of the pie here, I guess. You can have the nice, cute, homely, adorable one, or you can have the asshole. And some people like the asshole. I don't get it personally, but hey, people date me, so obviously it's a thing. I don't like people like me, though.
Oh, Jesus. Well, this game clocks in at $10. What are your thoughts on Chemically Bonded?
That it is super worth it. It's a nice, quick little one. It gives you plenty of hours of play for the price. And for people who are just like, I just want to get the achievements real quick, you can like all visual novels, you can just skip through, make your choice, and never see any part of the game like a loser, and just quickly get your achievements. So, it's not too bad. There is also a side story after you've gotten all 4 of the endings, the good and bad ending for each girl, which is a little side story. I haven't unlocked it yet, because I am still working my way through the correct option in this set of girls. So, yeah.
So it's a good one.
Yeah, it's very good. Totally recommend it, yes.
All right. One final game to talk about tonight is called IGNISTONE, developed by Mono Entertainment, published by Kodansha, released October 2nd on Steam for $7.99. IGNISTONE is a roguelike action game that focuses on parrying. Your goal is to reach the 100th floor in the dungeon, find weapons and amulets that suit your playstyle in a world full of playfulness. Pernell, what is IGNISTONE?
Wow, that price really came out of nowhere on me. But hey, that makes this even easier.
Yep,
So
$7.99.
IGNISTONE would be what I'd call the surprise of the week, in that it is a game where I came into it and walked away feeling like I had a good time with it. It does something, and it does it well. So I'm just going to throw that in advance. IGNISTONE is a game where you are pretty much the robot of a little inventor in this little, I don't remember the name of the group of people, but it's like a little mole people society, essentially. You live underground, and your home is pretty much powered and lit up by what's called the IGNISTONE. And unfortunately, one day, a group of rogue people of your clan decided to steal the stone because they're greedy little bastards, and they go underground with it. And unfortunately, without that stone, your community is doomed. So the little inventor takes it upon himself to take his robot and go underground, with the intent being to get the IGNISTONE back. And this, in turn, begins one fantastic gameplay loop where you go from floor to floor, engaging in various events until you hopefully get to the bottom. And how does this play out? Well, let's see. When you first start out in the dungeon, you will be shown a layout of 3 different paths you can take to go from the floor you're on 5 floors down. And you'll see a variety of icons associated with a number of potential events that could occur during your journey. Maybe monsters you can fight, or money you can come across, or items such as mushrooms you can find on the ground to put into your inventory. You select one of those things, or crystals rather, that go into your inventory. You'll select one of those paths, and away you go as you progress onward. In the event you choose a room that has a monster in it, you will get the option of, a la Paper Mario, you'll get the option to do a tattle function. And the tattle function will let the inventor inform you, the player, of what this monster is all about and what this monster can do. And you may potentially do some practice battling if you want, to a certain point. Eventually you have to start paying for it, but early on the game lets you do it for free, which is good because it's nice to kind of get the timing down of things, because in this game, parrying is king. Parrying is what matters, and if you don't parry, well, you're going to be boned. So the idea behind this game is that in these battles is that you have a sword and a shield, a variety of different types of them, which you can produce and make more of. And when the battle starts, the enemy will start to move, and you can basically do 2 things, or rather 3 things. You can attack and just swing your sword like a freaking drunk MacGuffin. You can put your shield up to guard against damage. And over time, you'll also charge an SP gauge, and when it maxes out, you can also do a special attack. Now, the maneuvering in this game consists of essentially doing those things, but also watching what the enemy is doing, because eventually the enemy is going to make a move on you to do some damage. And while you could put your shield up to reduce your damage down to 30% of the actual take, what you'd rather do is guard at just the right time as the attack's about to collide with you. You'll do an SP crash, which is essentially parry. You'll knock the enemy down, and you'll get a free precious seconds to beat the ever-loving snot out of them. And eventually you may or may not win. You'd better win, at least on the first battle. Otherwise, what are you doing? And when you do win, the game will reward you with a rescued little miner man. I hope that I got to tell you right now, if the development team is listening to this review, just laugh and go, how in the hell do you not remember the creature's name? And then just make the comments, they're called the such and such, you goober. And that is fine. I accept that. But you will rescue these guys. And you may also get a reward, and you'll press onward even still. Eventually, you may find yourself getting to a point where the game will give you the opportunity to either escape the dungeon or keep going further still. Why would you choose to leave when the going's just getting good? Well, that's easy, Kimosabi. If you decide to keep going and you manage to get killed, the weapon and shield you are using is gone. Because you see, the little inventor can carry the robot out of the dungeon, but the robot is so heavy that that's the only thing he can carry. Nothing else. So your goods are done. So play smart and play wise. When you go back to the hub or the main overworld, there are a variety of things you can engage in to prepare for your next run. You'll come across the occasional mini game where you can basically do things that earn more money that you can spend on storage and I guess like in not situations, but like I guess resources and like facilities that the town has to offer. There's an amulet store where you can spend minerals that you can find on your adventures to create. I guess what's the best way to put them is like passive abilities. And depending on the type of ore you put in to produce this, the better the passive ability will be. And to be honest, this is a large part of the fun of the game, too, because there's some pretty cool synergy you can come across in this thing. I think my favorite ones was I had an item where I could parry and get health back after parrying, which was good for healing because I didn't want to have to use mushrooms to heal half the freaking time. I could just sit there and fight an enemy that I had a perfect parry set up for and just get my health back by overly parrying the guy. It's great. Also, you can get a thing where when you parry, you get a bonus on your damage and defense, which means now I'm doing parries and getting juiced up and getting strengthened up. It's freaking great. You can buy new swords and shields by way of taking some of those crystals that I mentioned earlier. And if you have the right combinations of those crystals and you have the blueprints for them, you can get new swords and shields. They have different attacks and defense stats, but they also have little abilities associated uniquely with each weapon and shield. Where it is, yeah. And if you get the two matching pairs together, as in the helix, for example, the golden sword and the golden shield, or the ancient sword and the ancient shield, they have yet another bonus that comes in as a set bonus. So even though you can mix and match, the game incentivizes you to make them actual pairs to get the unique bonus that comes from that pairing. You can also spend the rescued individuals to upgrade these facilities to make them better, such as more blueprints on the sword and shield shops or more items available at the general store, including things like potions. You can carry more amulets into the dungeon with you, and so on and so on. It results in a pretty sweet loop of a game. The graphics are vibrant and bright. The animations are fun. When you win battles, the characters do a little like anime celebration or something. I'm like, yeah! And you're like, yeah, I'm Yang too. This is great. We won. And you get to continue on and do your thing. You might find yourself going, whoa, I don't want to get caught up in here and lose my really cool weapon. Let me do some exploration with my garbage equipment in case something goes wrong. And only come down once I start getting some good equipment. And I know what I'm doing, so I don't risk losing it so much. But like I said, it's a generous loop, a fun loop. And with the events that occur topside, plus, the thrill of just getting better stuff, and just the fun of parrying, I do think this is a good product to invest in and spend some time in. Even if you find that you manage to somehow not get to the 100th floor or whatnot, the attempt at trying, just like a good roguelike, is still worth the investment in and of itself. You might not see the bottom, but it's all about trying to get there that the fun comes in. So there you go. It's your time.
$8. Give me your verdict.
Absolutely a buy it. I highly recommend this game. And I do believe if you give it a chance yourself, you will enjoy it. It's simple, yet just enough to be fun and engaging, and your time will not be wasted.
Cool. Sounds good.
Very good. I just said buy it.
I know you did. I'm just saying it was good. I said your job was good. You did a good job, Pernell. Everyone did a good job tonight. I'm proud of everyone
Especially
except
me.
Aki and how many times she said cunt this episode.
Cunt.
Well, you said it too now.
Yeah,
He already said it.
All aboard.
You can't be serious.
What did you say?
mean,
I can't hear you. I have an ear infection.
I mean, if they didn't want me calling this person a cunt, they shouldn't have wrote her to be such a cunt. I'm just saying.
Okay, Aki, enough.
She's like, don't give me the end because I'll take it.
I'm not giving her final words this episode. Fuck that. Music this episode. We're gonna play some Diablo from the OneUps. Since we're getting close to Halloween, we'll keep some spooky music going through the next couple of episodes. Chris, do you have any final words to end the episode? We'll give you the final words. Pernell, do you want the final words?
It would actually be very funny if like my idea there was to like explode into a bunch of like really off-color language. But as funny as it would be, I'm still not going to do it.
No.
But the intent was there, so you've already given up the ghost.
Yeah. Now it won't be a surprise when I actually do it at some point.
I mean, you just don't tell us, and we'll be surprised. You'll just go off on a tirade.
Like my old man voice.
I expect that kind of language from Aki, but not you.
Well, you can go fuck yourself.
Everybody have a good night. Take your medicine.